Hey everyone, an evil interviewer asks an innocent interviewee one dangerous question. What happens internally when a request hits ASP.NET Core? Let's figure out how our innocent interviewee answered that question. So these are the steps. We'll go step by step. First of all, every ASP.NET Core application runs on Kestrel web server. In production environments, Kestrel is usually hosted behind a reverse proxy, such as IIS or Nginx. Internally, when client sends HTTP request, it first reaches to the server socket. Kestrel listens on configured ports. Commonly port is 5000 or 443 and accepts a request through a TCP connection. Kestrel itself is a lightweight, asynchronous and cross-platform web server that handles raw HTTP requests and forwards them to the ASP.NET Core request pipeline. Once the request reaches Kestrel, it starts parsing the incoming request data such as HTTP method, headers, body, and protocol information. After parsing the request, Kestrel creates an HTTP context object. This object contains everything related to the current request, including request data, response object, user information, item collections, and connection details. HTTP context is one of the most important objects in ASP.NET Core because it follows throughout the entire request pipeline, carrying both request and response information. After the HTTP context object is created, the request enters ASP.NET Core middleware pipeline, which is one of the most important concepts in ASP.NET Core. Middleware components are arranged in a sequence and executed one after another. Each middleware receives the HTTP context and it can modify the request or response, call the next middleware in the pipeline, or even short circuit the request completely without parsing it further. The middleware execution flow works in two directions. The incoming request flows from middleware 1 to middleware 2, then middleware 3, and finally reaches it to the endpoint. Once the endpoint generates a response, the response travels back through a same middleware components in a reverse order from middleware 3 to middleware 2 and finally a middleware 1. Middleware basically works like a request and response processing pipeline, similar to interceptors in other frameworks. Next comes a routing middleware, which is responsible for identifying the correct endpoint for the incoming request. It uses use routing method to match incoming URL with the appropriate endpoint. Internally, ASP.NET Core builds a route table during application startup, and incoming URL are matches using pattern matching techniques. After routing is completed, the request is forwarded to the selected endpoint depending on application type. An endpoint could be a controller action, a minimal API endpoint, browser pages, or even a custom endpoint. This is where the actual request handling logic begins execution. Once the endpoint is selected, ASP.NET Core performs model binding. Model binding converts incoming request data into C# object that can be used directly inside the application. The data can be from various sources such as route parameters, query strings, request headers, from data, or the request body itself. After model binding is completed, ASP.NET Core performs model validation. Validation attributes defined in the model are used to verify whether the incoming data is valid according to the business rules. For example, fields can be marked as required. String lengths can be restricted, number types, or any custom rule. After validation, filters comes to the picture. Filters are an enhancement layer into the MVC pipeline, and they execute around controller action execution. ASP.NET Core provides different types of filtering includes authorization filter, resource filter, action, exception, and the result filter. These filters helps in handling cross-cutting concerns such as authentication, logging, exception handling, and response modification. Once request passes through filters, it moves to the business logic layer where the actual processing takes place. These layers typically contains services, repositories, domain logics, and database operations. Here the application performs all the necessary computations and operations required to generate the final result. After the business logic execution is completed, the application creates an action result. The response can be returned in different formats such as JSON data, views, files, HTTP status code, or any custom response depending on the application requirement. Once the action result is created, ASP.NET Core serialize the response object into the appropriate response format, which is usually JSON in modern web applications. ASP.NET Core commonly uses system.text.json for serialization because it is lightweight and optimized for performance. After serialization, the response starts flowing back through the middleware pipeline in reverse order. For example, the response may pass through authentication middleware, logging middleware, and other middleware components before leaving the application. During this stage, middleware components still have ability to intercept or to modify the outgoing response. Finally, the fully processed response is returned to the network stream and sent back to the client as an HTTP response. At this point, the complete ASP.NET Core request lifecycle is finished. Thank you everyone. If you liked this video, feel free to ask more questions in the comment sections. And don't forget to share this video because your sharing might help another innocent interviewee.